Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a special episode, and today's dinosaur we'll be talking about is Therizinosaurus. And later on, I'll actually get to some important news about that has actually happened in the past few days. Alright, let's actually get started with Therizinosaurus, alright? In Latin, Therizinosaurus means reaping lizard or scythe lizard. Basically, it's based on the claws, that it was discovered by its claws. And it's actually found in Asia, basically in Mongolia and China. Found basically like Cretaceous age, 80 to 70 million years ago. Probably going to be omnivorous, but even though I probably lean towards it's actually a herbivore, because since it's actually kind of a transition kind of dinosaur, and basically the reason why Therizinosaurus was named was because of its claws. Here, this is a model of Therizinosaurus right here, and if you could see these long claws right here, that's what's actually that was the reason why the dinosaur is actually named. But you see, in the 1950s, when it was actually discovered by paleontologists, they actually thought it was really interesting, and basically they thought it was actually a rib of a giant sea turtle. But when they actually continued to excavate, they actually found that it was attached to arms that are 10 feet long. 10 feet long! Can you believe that? Those are the longest arms out of any animal that has been living or extinct. That is just amazing. And the striking features of Therizinosaurus, if you actually can see here, it has an elongated neck, small head, basically long arms, as we can tell, long arms with giant claws. And if you can tell by the feet down here, you can actually, it's hard to see, but even though you can actually see there's 1, 2, 3, and then in the back right here, there's a fourth toe. A fourth toe. That is very different from its ancestors. And basically, its ancestors were actually carnivorous. Can you believe it? And basically, these dinosaurs are part of the group called Coelurosaurs. That is the same family of basically like the smaller Coelurosaurs, and also like the ornithomimids, the dromaeosaurs, and the tyrannosaurs. So basically, because since the Coelurosaurs were so dominant in the Cretaceous, they actually pretty much diversed into many different kinds of groups. And with this kind of Coelurosaurs is basically they're actually kind of becoming they're actually transitioning to a more more of a herbivorous diet. And since there is a fossil that has been found in Utah called Falcarius, that most people should actually know if they're actually looking into dinosaurs. Interesting about Falcarius, it's actually a very different kind of dinosaur. You might think it's actually carnivorous based on like the claws and also by its size. But once you actually look at it closely, you actually see that it has it's beginning to have the elongated neck. But you see the skull looks very carnivorous. But the thing is that it has very small leaf-like teeth. And so that actually provides more of a herbivorous diet. So he actually is beginning the transition of actually becoming herbivorous. And it's a very rare kind of dinosaur. Therizinosaurs are very rare in the fossil record, because since that its bones are basically their claws, some vertebrae, and also their arm bones. And not much has been found about how long the neck could actually be. No one knows like what the true size of some Therizinosaurs are at. But even though we still don't know what the true size of some dinosaurs actually are, it's basically just a guessing game by that. And basically, since Therizinosaurs were kind of the oddballs of the dinosaur age, they were probably feathered, because since that one of their relatives that has been found in China, called Caudipteryx, has actually been found to actually have feathers covering it. Now, as much of the plumage of Therizinosaurus, I would actually say it would probably, some of the plumage would actually be on the arms, some parts of the back, the end of the tail, and probably like in the neck and back of the head region. Considering that it's actually, since dinosaurs are closely related to birds, and so that basically the males would actually have the more brightly colored feathers than the females. And basically the claws are actually part of a debate. They don't know if they're actually used to actually grab like bushes and branches to bring the vegetation closer to their mouths, or are they used for defense? Now, you would think they're actually used for defense based on like the size of the claws, because since the claws can actually, the bony part of the claw is actually over 35 inches. That is, some of them can actually go over 35 inches, which is actually pretty amazing. And since that, they could actually be used to defend itself against like Tyrannosaurs, like Tarbosaurus or Tyrannosaurus bataar, since those are actually kind of the big, mean Tyrannosaurs that are actually around. But I still consider Tyrannosaurus bataar to be Tarbosaurus. That's just my opinion. I grew up hearing that name throughout most of my life is Tarbosaurus. Tarbosaurus is basically the kind of dinosaur I still actually consider to be a top predator in its kind of time. But since Tarbosaurus would actually be the only predator that would actually be a danger to this herbivore, or otherwise omnivore, we still don't know about its diet. Its diet is still up for debate. But you can actually say that Therizinosaurs are probably almost closely related to the ornithomimids, like Gallimimus, Ornithomimus, Struthiomimus, I mean, you name it. But even though they're actually more closely related to the oviraptorids, basically like dinosaurs like Oviraptor, Carditorix, what am I? I'm thinking of that giant oviraptorid dinosaur. I'm trying to think of the dinosaur. I just can't picture. I'm just trying to figure out the name. I just can't remember anymore. Gosh, man, thing about memory. Once you have that name in your brain, sometimes it just fades away. And so, oh, Gigantoraptor, that's what it was, Gigantoraptor. Now it came to me. How about that? And so basically, because since Therizinosaurs and Oviraptorids are actually very close related, they probably did brood their nests on time at occasions, but probably since the size of Therizinosaurus was probably too big for it to actually like sit on its to actually kind of nearly sit on its eggs, so it's probably gonna get close to the eggs to actually warm up the eggs, but you know, it's basically still up for debate on that. Of course, the extinction of Therizinosaurus is basically due to climate change. Climate change is always going to be the #1 catalyst in that. And so basically, since that China, Mongolia was actually kind of forested and also kind of actually desert-like, so probably be due to the fact that the deserts were expanding, and basically the trees that the plants and trees that Therizinosaurus actually depended on probably disappeared, and basically it had to live in smaller areas where there's not that much plant material to actually keep feeding itself. So probably it's probably just going to be climate change, but also it's basically that deserts probably did expand during that time. So because since there has been fossil soils found that saying that during that time it was basically near desert conditions. But anyway, let's actually talk about the stories that have been coming out the past few days about in the news of paleontology, basically, and basically what I've actually been, and also I've been, and basically the first story that actually kind of got caught up to me, and also I actually read multiple times, is the new trackway that has actually been considered to be the scientific evidence to support that Tyrannosaurs probably did live and hunt in packs. And basically it's actually found in British Columbia, and the rocks are dating back 75 to 70 million years ago. And these tracks are there's 3 trackways of the Tyrannosaurs, and basically they're all going in the same direction. And so basically they're actually moving simultaneously towards wherever they're going. And also there's been hadrosaur tracks that have been found around this site, and basically the hadrosaur tracks are kind of almost scattered. So basically it looks like that the Tyrannosaurs were coming in and actually basically scattering the herd of hadrosaurs. But also an interesting thing about this trackway is that one of the trackways is actually missing a toe claw, which is actually strange. You would think that a theropod dinosaur like a Albertosaurus, Gorgosaurus, or Daspletosaurus would actually have a toe claw in one of its feet, on one of the toes. But basically one of the tracks is actually missing one, so it probably could have been an injury, or otherwise it might have been actually just been born that way. It might have been actually just hatched out without a toe claw. So it's probably going to be a weird looking kind of thing when you actually take a look at it. But it probably might be an injury. It might be an injury, but we'll see. And I do support this, and I do support the pack hunting theory of large theropod dinosaurs. And considering that since most herbivorous dinosaurs actually lived in herds, and basically they actually have to defeat the defenses of the herd. And if you're a carnivore, you need to break those defenses and basically go after the weakest members of the group. And so that is actually priority number 1 is for pack hunting predators. Is basically they have to be hunting herbivores that actually are living in herds. So that's priority number 1. And even though you can actually do hunt in packs to actually like beat the physical defenses of an animal, but it's highly unlikely, because basically if there's like a but even though like with ceratopsians they can probably do that, hadrosaurs they can do this. With ankylosaurs though, that's actually going to be very, very tough. I would actually say that they can do it. It's just that the ankylosaurs are going to be so tough for them to actually figure out, to actually like get the underside of the animal. But I do support this pack hunting theory, and I actually hopefully there's furthermore evidence to actually show that there's probably like a communal thing going on with these predators. And another thing, and it's actually been on the news, is the fossil site in Siberia, in the rocks dating to the Triassic age, showing a herbivorous dinosaur that is actually with some impressions of the skin actually been found with feathers. Now they actually are claiming that this might be evidence that all dinosaurs are feathered. Now I wouldn't go that far, because since that there are some dinosaurs that do show reptilian features, like if you look at the stegosaurs and the ankylosaurs, you would actually see that they don't share a lot of bird adaptations to their skeletons, because you would think that they're basically more reptilian lineage than like the bird lineage. But since these dinosaurs are still closely related to birds, but even though I think they're probably leaning toward a more reptilian kind of skeletal structure and also body structure. But even though they are still erect stance dinosaurs, and basically they'll actually have their legs underneath their body, so basically they're not actually having their arms and legs on the side. So basically they're kind of walking like this, but basically they're just kind of moving like this, basically, because since their arms are actually their legs are actually underneath their body. Now I would also believe that the sauropods probably didn't have that much of plumage either, because since they're so big, you don't need that much plumage to actually stay warm, and also to show off to mates about like you're a healthy individual and you're ready to mate, and also territorial disputes. But since probably sauropods, they probably didn't actually have that much of plumage anyway, so they're probably going to be more scaly than feathered. And chylosaurs are basically just going to be scaly, and I think stegosaurs would actually have just been scaly as well. There are some theropods that probably actually did not have feathers, but even though since that theropods are actually the direct ancestor to birds, since they actually have a lot of similar features to birds, they probably did actually have some plumage as well. Because since that we hear some tyrannosaurs actually having feathers, we hear dromaeosaurs or raptors that are actually feathered. But I mean, it's still a debate out there. It's a small debate, but even though it's actually getting closer and closer to the answer of what these animals probably did look like in the flesh. Alright, that's it for now, and so next week would actually be an answering questions episode. So if you got a question about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, or otherwise if you have a theory that you want to actually present to me, I am willing to listen to it, and you can actually email me the questions or theories to dinocris71@gmail.com, or other ways you can actually post the questions in the comment section on the Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris, on any post on my Facebook page, and also you can follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL, and make sure to take care of the people around you, and also for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education, because with a good education, you get a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.